just before you say something you can't take away. Take a breath and let it out. Try to think about what would love do now. Wondering if you should cross that line for good. Whatever you decide, ask yourself from the inside, what would love do now? Everything is either an act of love or a cry for love. That's why for love we try for love. And in the end, that's all we know is real. Whether right or wrong, doesn't matter just as long as you let your heart decide. Ask yourself from inside, what would love do now? 'Cause everything is either an act of love or a cry for love. That's why for love we try for love. And in the end, that's all we know is real. Whether right or wrong, doesn't matter just as long as you let your heart decide. Ask yourself from inside, what would love do now? What would love do now? What would love do now? What would love do now?
Kyle Schreiber, The Spirit I Am Band. Eddie Watkins. That's a good question. What would love do now? Some of y'all know that, excuse me, my dad passed away a couple of weeks ago, last week. So I just got home, and I just wanted to say I'm grateful to be home. And I really appreciate all the support and the love and the prayers and the messages that I got when I got to the funeral home for the visitation on Tuesday. I had this beautiful basket of live plants from you guys, and I felt like you were there with me. It felt really good. And I'm going to plant those in my garden this week. So I just wanted to say thank you. During my travels, I went by this little, I like to go on the back roads as much as possible. So I went by this little Baptist church in the country, and it said, you get to choose heaven or hell. And I thought, yes. Yes, I do get to choose whether I'm living in heaven consciousness or hell consciousness right now in this moment. What would love do now? Pick heaven. And when I don't do that, then guess where I am? Right? Hell consciousness, which is not a fun place to be. Anybody been there? Yeah, I like to feel good. I like to feel the joy and the presence of God. But you know, sometimes I don't always see it when I'm out in the world. You know, it's almost like I have in my mind that, well, I have my church life, and then I have my life out there. And so I forget sometimes that everybody that I see is the Christ, not just y'all, right? Tell somebody, you are the Christ. And don't you forget it. Don't you forget it. That's the problem, is I forget. I was in this little Waffle House. I call it the Awful House. In a little bitty town in central Georgia. And I was having breakfast, and these two men walked in, and I immediately started making up a story about them. Have you ever done that? And it wasn't a nice story either. And then I caught myself. What are you doing? You're not seeing the Christ. You're not looking for the Christ. You know, and these folks, you're all wrapped up in appearances. And we remember that our way shower, Jesus, the Christ, said, don't judge by appearances. Judge by righteous judgment. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but I wanted to say also that we're really grateful and proud of Kyle, because he is almost finished with his licensed teacher stuff. He has one more week of classes and a week of testing at Unity Village. He just got back from a week of classes, and so when he completes his LUT, we'll have 3 licensed teachers in our church. Miss Evelyn is a licensed teacher. Judy Jones is a licensed Unity teacher, and now Kyle will be. And Kyle has done a year of practicum work as part of his studies. So the class he's teaching on Monday night is part of his practicum, speaking at church on Sundays. And Kyle, Reverend Bessie is so jealous that we have 3. She doesn't have any. Oh my goodness, no, you're not going back up there, so don't even think about it. You belong here with us. You can visit, but you belong to us, right? Yeah. And thank you for speaking last Sunday. Didn't she do a fantastic job? Because although I did attend church at Unity of Chattanooga last Sunday, I watched y'all on the video on Facebook the very next day, and that was really cool to, you know, see everybody, you know, dancing around, listen to Miss Evelyn speak and pray, and everything everybody did. Thank you so much. So y'all don't even need me. You get along just fine when I'm not here, right? It's not about me. It's about us and the love. Yes, isn't it? Yeah, and that's what we feel. When we're here, every Sunday is the love. We get loved up, and then we can go out and be the love, you know, be what we want to be. Now, one thing that Kyle was telling me, he takes classes from Paul Hasselbeck. God bless you. I had a class with Paul Hasselbeck. He wrote the book, Heart-Centered Metaphysics. If any of y'all have read that, we have it at a bookstore. It's about, you know, Unity metaphysics, the truth with a capital T, right? And when I was doing licensed teacher work, I was at Unity Village, and they had just changed the curriculum right before I was about to finish. And so Paul says, we have this new program, this new metaphysics class, and we're not offering it to everybody until you graduate. But I really want you to have this. So you're going to come to my office at this time every day for a week. And after the first class with him, I said, Paul, Reverend Paul, you have to stop poking me like this, or I am not going to make it through the whole week. Because he really challenges us to think in different ways, to put on a new mind, you know. So one of the things he says when you go in his class is, there is no God. Who are you praying to? If there's not a man on a cloud out there somewhere that's directing everything, then who are you praying to? So I invite you to take that into your prayer time and see where it leads you. You know, don't take anything that I say on face value. Try it out for yourself. take it home and work with it. That's the whole point of coming here, is that we talk about these spiritual principles and then we use them in our own lives, and our lives change. One of the basic teachings of unity is that we express the Christ idea, okay? I never thought of God as a divine mind until I came to unity. Oh, okay, what's that? And we're all expressing divine ideas. That's our purpose. If you want to know your purpose, it's to express divine ideas. We call that the Christ, the template, the image and likeness of God that we have within us, within every cell of our body. We call that the Christ. Now, the Fillmores, Charles and Myrtle, said that this Christ expresses through 12 ideas or 12 powers, and Kyle told me that's something that they really studied at Unity Village while he was there this time. This idea of 12 powers, that we are all here to express those, to use those, to change our lives, to be the love in the world. And when I was in Chattanooga, Reverend Christine said something that stuck with me that I've been thinking about ever since. And she was talking about the power of will, which is one of our 12 powers, one of your 12 powers. They're not some power out there that you have to get. It's already in you, and you let it out. Does that make sense? So you express these powers. And the way the Fillmores lined them up, they correspond to the 12 disciples. And there's a color for each power. And there's a place in the body. Reverend Christine was talking about the power of will. The power of will last Sunday. And she said, this stuck with me, are you being willing or are you being willful? Are you being willing? Or are you being willful? And I thought, well, in some areas of my life, I'm very willing. Others, not so much. If you've ever been exposed to the ideas of the 12-step programs, their third step says, we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood God. And when I first heard that, I thought, who wants to do that? Like, what will I be after that? Because I still had that idea of God out there, like moving us around on the chessboard, you know, just kind of having this cosmic game or joke with us. I thought it was a joke. I was mad at God for a long time. And it's okay to be mad at God. My God is big enough today that I can be mad at it and not get in trouble, right? Because God isn't punishing. See, that's the thing. We think, we grow up with this idea, I did, maybe you did, that God is out there judging us. You're bad and you're good, so you get punished and you get blessed. Or just like today, I feel like blessing somebody, so I'm going to pick Catherine. Just pulled her name out of the hat there. No, God is, here's another idea that I got when I came into unity. God is principle. Take that and chew on it a little bit. God is principle. God is law. God is principle. God is a process. So this, if we think about it this way, this changes God's will. It turns it on its head. You know? I used to think doing God's will meant like going and doing what my parents told me to do. You know? And why do I do that? Because I said so. That's why. That was my idea of God. But when we think about God as not somebody who made a bunch of laws that we're supposed to follow, but God as law itself, because everything goes back to our first principle. I loved our daily word today because it said the beginning of spiritual understanding is the realization that there's only one presence, one power. Not one presence and one power, like there's two things. One presence, one power. That's why we have a comma in our affirmation. Yes, because there's not two. There's only one. So the beginning of spiritual understanding goes to the realization that there's only one presence. Everything stems from that. And so if there's only one presence that is everything, how could there be God and something else? So how could there be God and law? God is law. So when we're doing God's will, we're cooperating with spiritual law. We're cooperating with the process. We're cooperating instead of resisting. We're being willing instead of willful. And that comes from inside of us. This is why it's important to spend time in meditation, so we develop our intuition. So we listen to what's coming from within us. Sometimes I get messages from out there. I was sitting on my deck yesterday. I just got home, right? And this little bird is, I got a pond in the backyard. This little bird is flying around the pond. And the next thing I know, this giant frog jumps out of the pond and swallows the bird. The bird, right? Like the bird is as big as the frog. Like he couldn't even get the whole thing in his mouth. The head was still sticking out. And I'm like, okay, God, what's the message in this? Trying to bite off more than you can chew here? I don't know. So yes, I pay attention to messages I get from the animal kingdom. Let's take a breath now. Yet it all comes from inside. Like there is a presence. Like if there's not God and, there isn't God and me. Yes, I am God. Now, I'm not the allness of God, but everything that God is, I'm a little bit like I'm this individual representation of God. So I'm here to express divine ideas. So if you want to know what your purpose is, you're here to express divine ideas. Now, usually when we talk about our purpose, we think about, well, what is it that I'm supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Can you let your doingness be informed by your beingness? So this is what we're going to do next weekend when we do the next step process. We're basing the actions that we're going to take over the next 3 to 5 years on our vision, our mission, and our core values. On what we say we're here to be. We're here to be joy. We're here to be unconditional love. We're here to be inclusive. We're here to be transformative. We're here to be a spiritual home. So how does that out picture? What does that look like? So that's why it's so important for all of y'all to come next weekend, Friday at 5 o'clock. We're going to eat, and then we'll start our process at 6. We'll get together again on Saturday at 10 o'clock. Becky and her team have a wonderful meal for us. So you don't even have to worry about eating on Friday. You just show up. If you want to bring something, yes, see Becky. And then that's Friday at 5. We'll eat dinner, and then we'll start our process. And then on Saturday, we have a lunch. Once again, Becky is heading that up. And if you want to help, lots of help. How many people have taken the online survey? We have some of those printed out. It's really helpful to get some feedback from the congregation before we go into this process. So if you haven't filled it out, it takes like 5 minutes. There's 9 questions. How long have you been coming here? Are you a member? What do you like? What don't you like? Basically, that's it. So I'm going to be sending out another email this week with the link to that in there. So if you're on our mailing list, look for that. That's very helpful. Also, I was curious, is there anybody here that would be willing to drive somebody that doesn't drive at night? Anybody raise your hand? So back there. All of y'all that don't drive at night, look around at the hands that are held up and go see one of those folks after the service. They'll bring you on Friday night. So we want everybody to come. And it's going to be on Facebook, streaming live. So if you're out of town, you can still participate because someone's going to be on the Facebook account. You can type in your questions or comments during the the 2 days, and then the person that's working Facebook will let us know what's on your mind. So this is really important, that we all come together as one community to discover the ways that Spirit wants to express as us. Now here's the thing about purpose. I want to know, like I want stone tablets. I want, to go up on the mountain and talk to the bush and get everything, carved out in stone. This is your life. This is what you're supposed to do. But guess what? It doesn't work that way. You can wander around in the wilderness for 40 years, 40 days and 40 nights, trying to figure out what you're supposed to do in the world. But here's what I have discovered. You'll know when you're doing it. You will know when you're doing it. You'll be doing something and you'll go, this is it. I know this is what I'm supposed to do. Jesus, when he's talking to his disciples, right before he's about to get killed, they get scared. Okay? Because one of the difference between being willful and willing is being selfish and thinking about other people, thinking about yourself first versus thinking of others first. So they're all about love and service until they get scared. And then they find out that Jesus is about to die. And they're like, oh, well, what if that happens to me? What are we going to do? So they ask him, well, what should I do, Jesus, if they drag me before the judge and they're about to kill me? What should I say? And this is what he told them. He said, don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry about what you're going to say, but say whatever is given to you at that time. For it is not you who speak, but the Holy Spirit. So he's like, don't worry. Everything's going to work out in that moment. When you're doing it, you'll know what to say. So apply this to your own life. Think about it. Have there been times in your life where you were doing something and you said, this is it. This is why I'm here. One of the ways that you know is that when you're doing it, you're not thinking about anything else but what you're doing. You're present in that moment. So what I want to say to you is, can you look at what is the divine idea behind your doing this? What is the idea that you're expressing while you're doing? For me, it's playing the piano a lot of times. I'm playing the piano whether I'm with you or I'm by myself. I'm just kind of lost in everything. And I'm totally present in the moment. And I've thought about, well, what's the divine idea that I'm expressing there? Harmony, joy, satisfaction, wonderful things. So what is behind your doing this? What is the divine idea that's wanting to express as you? And we're going to do this together as a group next weekend. We're going to discover how these ideas of joy and inclusivity want to express as us. So I want to read you this one part from the book of Matthew. When we're in God's will, when we're cooperating with the process, when we're willing, life flows easier. We're more peaceful. We feel more connected. We feel more love. Have you ever noticed how fear is like it feels contracting, but when we're in the love, it feels expansive? We talk about our mind opening, our heart opening. When we're in the love. I love the line in Kyle's song he did. Everything is either an act of love or a cry for love. So it helps me when I'm out in the world to think about that. It helps me when I'm acting in ways that I don't think are in alignment with what I'm here to be, to think about, is this a cry for love, really, that I'm experiencing right now? Am I being willful or am I being willing? Am I being full of my own will, or am I willing to align my will with God's will? And sometimes there are things that I know that I should do that I don't want to do. Yes. Or there are things that I want to do that I know I shouldn't do. Did I say the same thing twice? Okay, thank you. I'm a little sleep deprived still. What we heard this morning from Judy in her prayer was, I'm willing to will God's will. So that's all we have to do is be willing. Sometimes I can't eat the whole bird in one gulp. Sorry, I had to go there. I have to take it a step at a time. So I'm willing to be willing to do God's will. That's all it takes, is that willingness. Just saying, okay, I know I'm supposed to do this. I don't want to do it, and I'm not even sure I'm going to do it, but I'm willing to do it. So please show me the way. Please show me how. And when I'm saying, please show me how, who am I talking to? Right, Kyle? So, do not worry. This is from Matthew, the 6th chapter. And Jesus says, do not worry about your life, or what you will eat, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap, nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they are? And can any of you, listen to this, can any of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your span of life? You know, I just read a story last week about a couple, 98, 94 years old. They met at the gym. She's 98 and he's 94. His friends make fun of him because he's dating a cougar. Serious. And they just got married. And they asked him, why, because they ask everybody this, what's your secret to living so long? And one of them, they said, was medical science. Thank you, God, for working through the doctors, right? But also, he said, we never worry about things we can't control. Can you add a single minute to your life by worrying? Why do you worry about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not clothed like one of these. So if God clothes the grass of the field, will he not much more clothe you? Therefore, do not worry, saying, what will we eat, or what will we drink, or what will we wear? For indeed, your heavenly Father knows you need all of these things even before you ask. But strive first for the kingdom. And where's the kingdom? It's within. Strive first for the kingdom. And all these things will be added unto you. All these things you're so worried about will be added unto you. Might be in the world, but not of the world. Be centered. Ask the question, what would love do now? Am I being willful or am I being willing? This is how we use our power of will. So I want to guide you through a short meditation before we leave today. So if you would, I invite you to just get centered in your chair and take a few deep breaths. Just relax into this moment. And place your attention on the crown of your head. Breathe deeply, easily, relax. Place your attention on the crown of your head. Place your awareness here. And as we move through this meditation, I invite you to let my words be the words of your silent, sacred heart to silently affirm along with me as you keep your attention focused on the crown of your head, the very top. I invite you to silently affirm and hold this with me. The Christ of God is quickened in me. The Christ of God is quickened in me. Now move your attention to your forehead, to a spot between the brows, just above the brow. And silently hold this thought. I am aware that the Christ of God is quickened in me. I am aware that the Christ of God is quickened in me. Now move your awareness down to your heart. Focusing on your heart space, silently affirm, I am grateful that the Christ of God is quickened in me. I am grateful that the Christ of God is quickened in me. Now let us move our attention back to the forehead, the spiritual eye, and hold these thoughts together silently. I choose my good based on spiritual understanding. I choose my good based on spiritual understanding. The light of understanding enables me to see clearly and to take right action. The light of understanding enables me to see clearly and to take right action. I am aware of God's presence in everything I do and everyone I meet. I am aware of God's presence in everything I do and everyone I meet. And now once again, place your attention on the crown of your head and imagine yourself bathed in a beautiful holy light, a cleansing, relaxing energy that moves down over you, in you, through you, washing away anything unlike itself. And so as we feel the power of this light moving in and through us, let us affirm together our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is in all His love.
I'm going to invite you all to stand up if you feel obliged to. Feel that energy moving through your body. I'm also going to invite you to sing with me. I'll tell you what to say, all right? I've got peace, like a river. I've got peace, down in my soul. I've got peace, like a river. I just roll with the flow. Now the river built